We are in our series at the moment called Peacemaking in Conflict Situations, and today our topic number 3 is conflict resolution can be learned. I've got to know 2 leaders in our area, and the one said to me at one stage, the biggest problem we have in our church is that the members are not submitting. And what he meant was, if everyone submitted, then we wouldn't have any problems in the church. And I found that far too simple. When one says that, one doesn't really understand what the cause of conflict is all about. And the second person said to me, when conflicts come about, what I do and all I do is I pray, and at some point that conflict goes. That's also too simple. And that's not what we see in the Bible. In the Bible, we find some very clear help on how we deal with conflict, how we can deal with conflict. And there's a whole lot more that we can do than pray. Although I do find prayer very important, and I like that, and I support it. And last week, we spoke about the basic attitude, and that was decide on the right reaction, namely to strive for peace. And today, in this video, I'm wanting to go to number 2, 3, and 4 so that we can begin to have a plan on how we can deal with conflicts and where, in the end, we've resolved it. Number 2, look at yourself first. Matthew 7:5 says, "You hypocrite, first pull the beam out of your eye, and then see how you pull the splinter out of your brother's eye." What is meant here is that first of all we need to look in our own hearts, look at our own attitude, and look at what maybe we did wrong in the situation. And we need to recognize it, and if we start at that point, then we begin with something that can actually take the heat out of the situation. When I see I've actually been 100% guilty, I can say then, I am sorry. And then the conflict is just about resolved. At least I need to see that I can learn from the situation. What did I do to aggravate the situation? And it's not saying the leader is always right, but we mustn't think that we always right. We need to look at that beam in our own eye. And if we have demanded something in defensiveness, if we used the wrong tone or so, we need to think about how we've dealt with this. And then number 3, overlook offences as often as possible. In Proverbs 19:11, it says the following: "Wisdom makes a person patient, and it is an honor for him to overlook offences." Or else another translation says, "People with reason control their anger. They earn respect when they overlook offences." The question is, or also challenge is, how often can we overlook offenses? I work in a team with a lot of people, and I know that there are times that there are things that are in their private lives that are maybe unsettled, and maybe they come to the meeting and they flip out about something or so, and I can actually overlook that at that moment, because I know that what they've said or done does not happen every week. The same thing with my wife. If she says something, or I know she's under a lot of pressure and things go wrong, I don't have to, at that moment, make her aware of exactly what she said or what has hurt me. No, I can actually overlook that and be a peacemaker in our relationship, and this is so important. The question for you perhaps is, so when should we not overlook an offense? And I would say, when this attitude becomes a tendency, that means it doesn't just happen once, every now and then, but just about every week this thing happens. This behavior seems to happen again and again, often. That's when I need to deal with it. And also what I think is important is that we don't just confront the issue when we're in a new relationship. For example, if I were to get to know a new person and they say something that is a bit hurtful and I would normally confront it, no, I need to build a bridge of relationship first before I just move in and confront. Look for the right time. But if it's an important relationship in my team and in a team where we have relationship with each other, a close relationship, then it's a good idea and often very important to deal with the issue as soon as possible so that this does not lead to hurting the relationship that we have with each other. Number 4, take a humble attitude. In Galatians 6 verse 1 it says, "Dear friends, if a person has committed a sin, then you, whose life is determined by the Spirit of God, should help this person lovingly and in humility to find his way back to the right path, and be careful that you don't get into the same danger." I'm reading 2 very important things here. First of all, gently bring this person to get back onto the right path. And of course, make sure that this person is restored. Ephesians 4:15 says, "Instead, let us hold on to the truth in love and become more like Christ in every way, who is the head of his body, the church." What I see there is we need to be speaking the truth in love. And sometimes people say the truth without love, and this often leads to conflict. Or else they've got so much love in this relationship, but they never speak the truth. And that's also not good. You can't grow there. It's important that we speak the truth in love. And that's when we can move on in the situation and grow. So, some tasks for you. How should your behavior change in the following areas? Firstly, do I reflect enough in a conflict to determine where I contributed to this conflict? Secondly, could I endure more injustice in order to enjoy more peace and quiet in life? And thirdly, is my attitude in every conflict situation loving and humble? Next week we will continue.